Hey beautiful people, how are you? My name is Connor. You're watching Thriving Minimalist. Today we're talking about colon hydrotherapy. I'm hanging out in Rhode Island right now with Brittany's family. For those of you who don't know, Brittany and I have a really awesome YouTube channel under our names, Connor and Brittany. We also have this website, connorandbrittany.com, where we talk about authentic relationships, non-traditional relationships, healthy communication, compassion, self-love, how to have that for yourself and with other people. So I would really encourage you to head on over to our YouTube channel or our website and check those out. So let me tell you what has been going on with me and why I got this colonic done, and share with you a little bit about it, my experience, and why it might be appropriate to try out in your life. Just like anything I talk about on this channel, I really encourage you to do what is best for you. I'm sure there is all kinds of evidence and science to show that colonics are really healthy, and there's also probably a bunch of science and data and blogs and people sharing about experiences that they have had with colonics that haven't been good or that have actually been unhealthy for them. So this video is not to say this is the way to have a healthy gut or this is a thing that you should do. This is really just my experience, and if it's something that's exciting you, I totally encourage you to check it out. So this is the deal. This is what's been going on for me. Let's see, about 3 weeks ago, almost, Brittany and I left Austin, Texas, and we had to do a bunch of work before leaving for our membership website and some other things. So I was just like feeling it, like really put in a lot of energy, and I was feeling quite tired. We went up to New York, where we were in the city. Pretty hectic environment. I love New York City, but it's also not like quite the environment that I'm used to. And running around trying to see a bunch of people in a few days' time. And then from there flew out to London, to the UK, and spent a couple days in London, and then went up to the UK Fruit Festival where we taught acro and presented on relationships. Had another 2 days in London, and then flew back to New York. From New York, got a train to Rhode Island. So all of that was just a lot, and the time difference from here to the UK was 6 hours, and it was just like the perfect amount of time for it to be really challenging to get a good night's sleep. We were teaching acro at 8 a.m. in London, which was 2 a.m. our time in Texas, and yeah, it was just hard, man. It was just challenging. So I was a little bit stressed out before we left. I was a little bit stressed out as we were doing things. I was putting in a lot of energy socializing with people and also running around doing different things. And then I really wasn't getting a good sleep. The effects of that led me to develop stomach pain, and some pretty unbearable stomach pain. It started probably halfway through the UK Fruit Festival, and by the time I got to Rhode Island, I was in a lot of pain. Having a lot of challenges, especially at night, just laying down on my back and then turning from side to side. I had so much pain that it was waking me up in the middle of the night. For those of you who don't know, I, 5.5 years ago, had a radically different life. It was full of stress and stressors that I wasn't even conscious of. Emotionally, for sure, and also physically, things that I was doing to myself, and also the environment that I was living in. One of the big stressors in my life that I was kind of creating for myself in order to manage other stresses was drinking a lot of alcohol. And I think we all know, like, drinking a lot of alcohol will have an effect on your stomach and on your gut. And I did a lot of healing on my gut. I have done a lot of healing on my gut, on my stomach, in the last 5.5 years, eating a plant-based diet, eating a ton of fruit, drinking a lot of water, staying away from stressful environments, and so on. But, and I think many of us, like many of you guys who are watching this channel, have made a lot of changes in your life, or are interested in making a lot of changes in your life, and probably seen wonderful results. But there's always more, there's always like a deeper level that we can get to. And I think what happened for me, this stomach pain, I tapped into something that had been there for a long time, and it just happened to come up because of the level of stress that I was feeling. And kind of like a lot of other things in life, I choose to take on this narrative that I was ready for it. and that it came up at an appropriate time for me to deal with it. So I had about 7 days where I was really feeling a lot of pain. And the last 3 days of it, I decided to start fasting, where I would not eat pretty much all day and then just have one meal kind of in the midday around 2 o'clock or so. And that was of melon. So I would just have one melon meal. I did that for about 3.5 days. I still wasn't getting better, which is really surprising. And yeah, I was chatting with Britt. We were talking about, well, what could this be? Could it be like parasites? Could it be a change in the microflora? Because I had changed tap water, which can affect the flora in your gut. I was thinking, you know, I just wasn't sure. So I was kind of thinking, well, maybe it's a parasite that I picked up somehow. And Brittany had parasites a long time ago, and we were talking about how she got rid of them. And it was through this colonic that she had gotten many years ago, 6-7 years ago. And it just both dawned on us right then, like, oh, let's try that out. Let's get that done. And my understanding of colonics, I mean, my feelings about colonics, I mean, I think we probably have all heard about colonics in our lives. I had heard about them before changing my lifestyle around 5.5 years ago. But when I did turn my lifestyle around 5.5 years ago, many of the influences that I was turning to for inspiration were really into what's called like supernatural approaches. Like really natural. So spraying water inside of your colon, maybe not a natural thing. Like, you know, we probably wouldn't have back in the day laid down in a spring or something and let water flow up into our butts. You know, it's just probably not something we would do. And so I kind of had this idea that colonics were extreme. Like maybe they were could have some health benefits, but it was an extreme way to get there. And I was being influenced by like more gentle approaches, like fasting, drinking a lot of water, getting a lot of rest, eating a lot of fruit, eating a lot of raw foods. These more natural approaches towards health, things that we would have done more naturally back in the day. And so yeah, colonics were just they had gotten into a place in my brain where they were a little extreme. But more recently in life, I really admire some people, I admire their health, who have had colonics and who have had really good stories about their colonic experiences, who do them on a routine basis. And these are some of the most vibrant people that I know. So piecing all of that together, I just decided this is definitely something I want to do. So I found someone here in Rhode Island, and I'm going to put her link in the description box. Her name is Nadine. She was so amazing, so pleasant. And yeah, called her up. I was able to get it in that night. As soon as I wanted to do it, I was able to find this person. I was able to go to their house and get it done. So this is what the experience was. There are different types of colonics. There are different styles of doing it. The one that I did, I believe, is called an open colonic or something. This is a style where you're pushing the water out yourself. So you lay on this big machine, and it's very gentle. It's very relaxing. You know, dim lights, everything, nice music in the background. You lay on this machine. You kind of slide onto this little hose, or you can use your hand to kind of put the hose inside of your butt. Only goes in about 1 inch, and you're looking at this tank of water. The tank is 10 gallons, and the water is like super filtered, you know, whatever, great water, and it gently flows, naturally flows, so there's no like pressure pushing it in. It just gently flows into your butt, and you watch it, you know, do its thing. It's also set at a temperature, so it's around 100 degrees, so it's like very lightly warm. I had a nice heating pad over my stomach. You know, you have your pants off or whatever, but you drape something like over your genitalia and like your thighs and stuff, and you leave your shirt on. And yeah, you just kind of lay on your back, you let the water flow in, and when you start feeling it kind of fill up and it feels natural to push, you just gently push. The first time that I kind of had the water go in and pushed, it felt like a little hard, like I had to really get in there and push. But after that, it felt really easy. It was a super gentle experience. It was very intuitive. and we did 2 tanks. So I did probably, I mean, we didn't run through the entire tank, so I think in total I did 18 gallons. And all I can say, I mean, I can say a lot, but I think the most important thing to note is I immediately felt better. I was exhausted. I went home, I slept like 12 hours. And then since that point, I got it done, I don't know, maybe 6 days ago. Since then, I have felt like a brand new person. I mean, I can't tell you guys how, I mean, not only do I not have the pain in my stomach, that alone would have been a huge relief. I would have been dancing all over the place. The contrast of being in pain and then not being in pain, it's like a flood of endorphins hits you and you're just like, yeah, life is awesome. But additionally, I mean, something really radically has shifted inside of me. And before I did the colonic, I was doing some research on the gut and these different possibilities of ailments it could be, and I was learning things about the gut. You know, we all know the gut is important. Maybe you've heard that the gut is the second brain or something like that. So I was like doing some research on that, and I was learning some things about how important the gut really is. And then after the fact, I did some more research because I was feeling so good. Here's a couple of things that I learned that I want to share with you that I think are really important. And you can find way more information out on like Wikipedia or just Google it. You know, I'm not at all feeling like I have a wealth of information or anything. And just a couple cool facts for you to digest. The first of which is that we have neurotransmitters in our gut. So when you've heard, maybe you've heard like the gut is the second brain, or we've said things like, I don't know, I just have this gut feeling or this gut reaction. We actually do have a connection with our gut and our brain. Actual connection, like flowing, like the gut is the brain is the gut. There's some communication here, and there's stuff happening in the gut that is much more than just digesting your food. So it has neurotransmitters. Fascinating. The other thing, and maybe the bigger point here that is a reason why I feel so good, is that the gut produces and controls 90% of our serotonin. 90%. Can you believe that? I mean, that's unreal. So, so I was like, well, I know serotonin plays a part in how we feel, but what is serotonin exactly? Serotonin does a lot of things, including like clots blood, and it might have a role in healing cuts and things like that. It does lots of things. But one of the big things that it does is it actually controls perception. And so like in simple animals, more like less complex mentally animals, that perception would be scarcity versus abundance in food. So it controls the perception of scarcity and abundance, and that comes up in you know, simpler animals. I don't know how else to say that, around food. So serotonin could tell the animal like, oh, there's a lot of food, we're all good, life is abundant, everything's great. Or it could tell the animal there's not enough food, scarcity, fear, anxiety, that kind of thing. But for us and other more complex animals, the scarcity abundance perception doesn't just talk about food. It's not just coming up as food, it's also coming up as like our external environment. So our relationships, how much love we're getting, you know, if we're safe in the world. Scarcity and abundance, you know? When we're living in abundance, I mean, we all talk about this term, like abundance, and how good it feels to be living in a perception of abundance. Everything is flowing to me. I'm feeling good. There's plenty for me. There's plenty for everyone. You know, when you really feel that way, not just with food, but with relationships and love, I mean, particularly with love, I think, a place to rest your head, you know, when you really feel like life is going to take care of you, you feel good. And when you feel fear, when you feel scarcity, there's not enough for me, there's not enough for me, you feel anxious, you feel fearful, you feel upset, you feel frustrated, you feel all sorts of things. So serotonin controls that perception. I mean, that's mind-blowing. Now, like I said, I'm not, this is just stuff that I've read. I mean, you can do research and find out a lot more detailed information on this stuff, but it's fascinating. And it makes sense to me that if we're feeling out of whack, to try a lot of different things before taking medication or before turning to ourselves and saying, I'm depressed, or I have this disorder or that disorder. You know, cleaning up our diet, cleaning up our relationships, finding people that really support us, maybe doing a colonic, you know, taking probiotics. I mean, there's doing yoga. There's a million things that I think we could turn to take care of ourselves, to love ourselves, that are maybe more non-traditional, but ultimately are going to lead to a much happier, healthier, and enriching life, rather than kind of like getting into this track that sometimes happens when we land inside of the medical establishment that exists today. So, yes, that was my experience with colon hydrotherapy. It was freaking awesome. I basically want to tell everyone about it. I have been, like I said, eating really clean, living a really healthful life for the last 5.5 years. So my experience with it, I think, was it wasn't chaotic is the word that comes to mind. And I could see maybe if I had colon hydrotherapy 6 or 7 years ago, I might have walked away feeling, maybe like a lot came up for me really quickly, because my colon was not very clean and I hadn't done preparation for 5.5 years. So I don't know how it would affect you, but I think depending on where you're at in taking care of yourself, it could affect you in different ways. Ultimately, I think it would be a really positive thing to look into. Like I said, I'm sure people have reasons why not to do colon hydrotherapy, and so, you know, I don't want to say this is the end all and be all, go do this thing, it'll definitely be awesome for you. But my experience was phenomenal. I loved the person that I worked with. I think this is like something I'm gonna include more in my life. And with videos like this, mostly I use it to encourage you to do what's best for you and to seek out treatments that really align with your health and that aren't fighting against you, and that are gonna bring you, you know, health, not just now, but like tomorrow and in the future. And that's what it's all about. So much love to you. I hope you are in good health. I hope your gut feels awesome. And I would love to hear any information you have, any experience that you've had with colonics, colon hydrotherapy. You can post those down below. Any opinions you have, I'm open to hearing those. I would love all comments to be compassion-based without telling anyone what to do, but more just offering your experience. That would be awesome. So much love to you. Hope you're enjoying the channel. Let me know how I'm doing by giving me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Mwah! See you next time. Bye.